Hello and welcome into another edition of the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. My name is Kevin Hickson. I am your lead beat writer for the Arizona State Sun Devils on SI and your host of this daily Sun Devils Insider Podcast. And I'm so grateful to be joining you once again on this Wednesday morning, just about to turn afternoon. Um, Obviously, day one of Arizona State spring practices, week three of that endeavor is now in the back burner. Two more days of practice this week, which will take place on Thursday and Saturday once again. And this is the second full week of the team coming together in full pads during their practices. Um, there were a lot of highlights, as I mentioned in yesterday's practice. Cutter Boley had his best day of spring to this point. The wide receiver room continues to look absolutely incredible. The defensive back room, Ashton Stamps has been an absolute standout to this point of spring, and um, he looks poised to be a starting cornerback opposite of Rodney Bimage Jr. Uh, the team continues to gel together more and more by the day. The coaching staff is doing working wonders on the personnel. The One of the main takeaways I have so far before we get into the main part of today's show is discussing the benefits of Kenny Dillingham leveraging a, an amended contract with Arizona State to land more of an increase in salary pool for his assistants. That enabled him to go out and grab Demetrice Martin and promote Brian Carrington and do other things to the staff. Mike Cyphers got brought in as a specialist coach to the special teamers. There were so many things that were shored out in terms of the coaching staff. And the hope is that you won't have any more Rashad Samples that end up deciding to take the best opportunity for themselves. Um, and that's not a slight at him at all. I would have done the same thing if I was in his situation, trying to move up. And Oregon's about as good of a position as you can find yourself in. But now Arizona State has a great infrastructure for assistants. Almost all of the assistants, if not all of them, love living in this area, and they're all doing a great job in building up a phenomenal track record in terms of player development. And that one of those coaches is none other than Jason Mons, who I talked about briefly in yesterday's show. Obviously, he's one of the most successful high school coaches in the history of Arizona football. I believe he won 8 state titles at Saguaro High School, and he was their play caller for his entire 15-year run, I believe. He made the move to Arizona State after the 2022 season. So this is now his fourth season. He's been on the staff as long as Kenny Dillingham has been on. And what a job he's done with the tight end group. You can look at Jalen Conyers and his dip in production in 2023 all you want, but he did not regress as a player. It was just a very, very messy year for the Sun Devils. And um the offense in particular, if you remember that season, there was Cam Skattebo taking snaps at quarterback. There was Jalen Conyers, as I mentioned, taking snaps at quarterback. Uh, Trenton Bourguet played most of the season with a pretty severe ankle injury, and he was playing through it. Um, Truthfully, there were so many things that went against Arizona State in 2023, and I can't pin Jalen Conyers' dip in production on Jason Mons whatsoever. 2024 and 2025, Shimon Mateer, all Big 12 performer 2 seasons ago, and last year he actually saw an uptick in production in several different statistical categories. He was an exceptional blocker, one of the best blockers in the Big 12, I'd argue, maybe the best. And Cameron Harpole, seeing him come along as strongly as he did at the end of his career, that was very, very impressive. But now you have the next generation of tight ends for Sun Devil football. And I wanted to kind of discuss Mon's vision for the room, at least from my perspective. Um, he didn't outright confirm anything in terms of the hierarchy uh, within the tight end room this season, but it sounded as if AJ Ia, the redshirt freshman, former four-star recruit, and Kamari Anderson, the transfer out of Kentucky from the 2025 recruiting class, sounds as if those two have the upper hand on the depth chart, and I'll discuss that shortly. But he also had a lot of praise for Anthony Miller and Christian Ingman, the two incoming transfers at the tight end position. And it's hard to argue against Miller finding time on the field this season. He played over 400 snaps for a college football playoff team last season in Tulane. Christian Ingman has shown ability to be a vertical field stretcher, and I think that the vision for them is to be in more specialized packages. Maybe Miller's in a package that utilizes maybe more heavy sets, maybe goal line sets. Um, And the as for the freshmen, Landon Myrie and Hayden Vercher are both very, very highly regarded prospects, freshmen in Arizona State system. We won't be able to see Hayden Vercher until the summer. He is not present for spring practices, but Landon Myrie is, and Jason Bonds was very, very adamant that he has taken major leaps forward throughout spring to this point. He said there is still a long way to go, but I really do believe that Myri is really being positioned as the tight end of the future a couple of years down the road. I think the present is most likely AJ Ia and Kamari Anderson. I think the tweeners are the two transfers, and I think that Hayden Vercher and Landon Myri are the future at the position. As for AJE, I think he is the present mostly because I have a very, very strong inclination that if AJE performs as well as I believe he will over the next two seasons, that he will be draft bound after the 2027 campaign, which will open the door for a Vercher or a Landon Myrie who probably is going to have anywhere from 2 to 3 years of eligibility left between both of them. Um, and I think Ingman and Miller come into the fold there because I believe they have 2 years of eligibility left. Those are guys that aren't going to redshirt, I'm sure of it, and they'll probably fill the roles that the two freshmen would otherwise have filled. And that allows them to use their red shirts in an effective capacity. Ultimately, I feel very, very good about what Jason Moss is doing. He just secured another tight end recruit in Caleb Camping just a couple of days ago. He's going hard for some of the top tight end recruits in the country in future classes right now. And I think much like Sean Aguano a few years from now, we'll be looking back at Jason Mons as one of those coaches that really built up a professional model at his respective position. I think that Saga Tuatele is doing it as well, with Maxi Hinachor being the first obvious success story there. I think Brian Carrington as I mean now he's assistant head coach and passing game coordinator, but when he was cornerbacks coach, you had Keith Abney, and now you're having Rodney Bimage and Ashton Stamps look every bit of the part is good. I think Jason Mons is one of those coaches that you'll look back at and go, wow, Kenny Dillingham has done nothing but bring on studs in his coaching staff. And we'll see how the tight end position continues to evolve throughout the offseason, but I thought it would be a very pertinent topic to talk about in today's show. And that's really all I have on that. once again, thank you so much for going through the entire episode with me. Uh, your support means everything to me each and every single day, and I will see you with another episode on Thursday. Thank you so much.